morning, my friends. I hope you're doing well. And I want to do something I haven't asked you to do in these videos just yet, and that is simply, if you're enjoying these videos, you find them helpful, would you please consider hitting the like button and even consider hitting our subscribe button, and also perhaps share this with someone who you know could benefit from these videos. In their book, Strengths Finder, that's quite a tongue tire, authors Marcus Buckingham and Donald Clifton advocate for focusing on building strengths rather than focusing on weaknesses. And the authors assert, for instance, that by identifying the individual strength of members within, say, an organization, its members can be utilized in more suitable positions. Required skills are developed more easily. Turnover is reduced, and employees' morale is improved, as well as the organization's overall performance. Finding your strengths is one of the best ways to improve your energy and effectiveness. By identifying your unique combination of strengths and playing to your strength instead of focusing on weaknesses, you can dramatically amplify your impact. And while this is true, and I encourage you to do so, find your strengths, I've observed that there are times, many times in fact, that we are required to simply do what is necessary to get the job done. It's in those times we tend to say something, or we've heard others say something like, well, somebody has to do it. And you may be familiar with the story about four people named everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. There was an important job to be done, and everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job, and everybody thought anybody could do it, but nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. And it ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have. Now, that story may be confusing and sound a bit like who's on first, but the message is clear if you think about it. No one took responsibility to get something accomplished. Somebody has to do it. I don't know anyone who thoroughly enjoys, for instance, and feels energized by stopping to fill the car up with gas. But somebody has to do it. Now, you could say putting gas in the car isn't one of my strengths, and you'll find yourself soon sitting on the side of the road, because some things we do simply because it needs to be done. Being willing to work outside of our comfort zone, our expertise, or particular giftedness to move something forward is required of all of us, whether it's in the church, your job, your family even. I've discovered in life and leadership that those who prosper and experience success are most often willing to simply do what needs to be done to move toward a goal. Jerry Rice, the great NFL Hall of Fame receiver, famously said, "Today I will do what others won't, so tomorrow I can do what others can't." And I consider this, my thoughts can't help to go to a scripture, particularly a man in scripture by the name of Nehemiah. Nehemiah is not a paid religious professional. In fact, he's not a contractor or even a carpenter. He is, of all things, the king's cupbearer. He was the taster. He was the guy that made sure the drinks offered to the king were not poison. And when the Jews returned back in ancient scripture to their homeland from Babylon captivity 90 years prior, Nehemiah stayed behind. He didn't go. He has settled into, for all intents and purposes, a successful life in the beautiful city of Shushan, the capital of Persia at that time. He was comfortable. But a report reaches him of the devastation in the city of Jerusalem, the capital of Israel, and it totally just messes him up. Jerusalem is destroyed, he hears, and the people are scattered and they're demoralized. And so the book of Nehemiah it's not just about rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. It is about building a city that could be a home for God's people and a witness for God's name to every city. It was 140 years from the first wave of captives taken to Babylon in 606 BC until Nehemiah's journey begins around 446 BC. Nehemiah felt compelled. Perhaps he said to himself, somebody has to do it. And in only 52 days, 42 different working teams restored a 50-foot high wall with a circumference of 4 miles, all the while fighting against opposition. How could they finish and accomplish something in only 52 days, what had not been able to be done in 140 years? I'll tell you, they prayed and they acted. The scripture says they had a mind to work. And so it is for all of us the same. We have to be willing to do what we should do rather than only doing what we want to do to experience success. It will require us to do what others just simply aren't willing to do, to begin before others are willing to begin, and not to stop when others stop. I think this can apply even to our current events, the virus that is rampant in our communities right now. Listen, we must pray and we must look for opportunities to act. I challenge you to do this while staying safe and staying vigilant. God bless you. Have a great week.